Hey YouTube, guess what? It's our 1-year anniversary.
Alright, if you're new to our channel, we are two rebels off-grid, and we have sold everything. In the last year, we've been doing many videos, and some we weren't even out here when we were shooting videos. Some of you guys have been with us all along from that very first video.
Yep.
And kind of feel sorry for you because you had to suffer through all those amateur hour videos. We are getting better, I noticed, and we get compliments on some of our videos. So we must be doing a little bit better than when we started 1 year ago.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come naturally. It takes a little practice. But yeah, we've officially been on YouTube with our channel for a year, and it was a big decision to actually even have a YouTube channel, because we knew having a YouTube channel, we would be opening ourselves up and kind of more of our personal selves than maybe we've done with people in the past that we don't know. So it was a big deal for us, and we really though wanted to start this channel so that we could document what we're doing here. Building a homestead from the ground up is not easy, I can say that, and there is a lot of work and research that goes into this. So back a year ago, I guess it was summer of 2021, that we really were like, you know what, we're about done with this lifestyle, and we could not see working another 25 to 30 years just to stay in our house and keep that lifestyle, and basically keep up with the Jones kind of lifestyle. And we were just burned out on it. We were burned out on our jobs. We were burned out on things going on in the world politically and all the stuff you guys all know.
Yeah, we were like, are we really living, or are we just existing?
We're just on this rat wheel. It's like you're on this hamster wheel, and you can't get off of it, because if you get off of it, you're going to lose your house. You're going to have to make decisions around that. And we were just, both of us are entrepreneurs, and we don't like working for other people. That was a big piece of it. Also, we wanted to do our own thing, and we wanted to be in control of our own future, and how much money we make or we don't make, and just how we're spending our time. So a lot of thought went into this. We've looked at property for years and thought about doing this for years, but I think that everything that was going on in our personal lives and in the world just pushed us over the edge of, you know what, let's do it. We only live once. We really want to do this. We really want to be living off the land. We want to live a different kind of lifestyle, and let's do it. And we're doing YouTubes. These are really for our kids. We have 4 kids between us, and hopefully someday we'll have grandkids, but we want our kids to have this as a document of what we did and what we built with our hands and our own ingenuity.
And it's always been something that you cannot just go in 1 foot into this decision, right?
Nope.
You cannot just say, I'm gonna do a little bit here, and it's like that biblical verse. You can't just give part of yourself to God and part of yourself to mammon or something like that, because you'll serve neither well, so just like homesteading, you need to give up everything, basically, unless you were fortunate to be born with lots of money, and we were not. So we had to sell everything.
Yeah, because we did go through a period, and it was probably more me so than Doug. I think Doug was ready sooner than I was, because I had been a single parent for quite a few years, as a lot of you know, and I worked my backside off to keep my kids in the house that we were in. And there was times when I worked 3 jobs, no joke. I would be working a full-time job, and then I had one side business going, and then I also did another part-time job. Like it was, and that was very intentional, because I wanted my kids to have that consistency and that foundation. And so there was a time where I kind of went through this period of, do I really want to let go of this? I've worked so hard to stay here and worked so hard to keep this house and stay in this house. And then I realized we can't homestead part-time. We can't be like, we had a hard time even coordinating time off together at the same time. You know, we each had, I think, 2 weeks of vacation a year in our full-time jobs. It was difficult to even sometimes make that jive. So we're going, how can we do this? We're looking at doing this, you know, over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And we're not young, you know, we're not old yet, right? But we don't want to be building a house when we're 70. Like, we need to have it done by then and have it all set up. So I started realizing in order to get here that was going to have to go. And then as I went through that process of letting go of the house and all the things that came with it, I started having this weight come off of me, because with the house comes utility bills. There was times when I had a $500 a month power bill, you know, with teenagers in the house constantly doing laundry and all the expenses that go into maintaining a house. Contrary to popular belief, a house is actually not an investment unless somebody else is paying your mortgage for you. So I started letting go, and it was really, really awesome. And it's been interesting, you know, the kids going along for the ride with us also were very supportive, and they fully were on board with us doing this, and we're building something for them. We're really wanting to build a legacy. So anyway, we had to kind of give that up so that we could have that initial cash to buy the property, because in order to do the owner builder opt-out permit here in Cochise County, you do have to own the property. So we needed that equity out of the house in order to do that. So I think we made a good decision.
Yeah, so then we got off our butts. We did our research, did a bunch of videos with you guys in hopes that we would learn something as we were researching. Plus, we were putting it up so that perhaps some of you guys that didn't know about it would know some of these steps that we're taking to make this big move. And eventually, we did buy property. But we weren't ready to move out. We were both burned out from work. We're like, let's go for a vacation.
Yeah, totally. Because, you know, we had been in that house for 10, 11 years. And it wasn't a huge house. It was like 1,260 square feet. But we were packed in there So it was a lot of work, probably 6 months of going through every room, cleaning things out, donating stuff, selling stuff, just decluttering and getting it down to a manageable amount of things to move with us. We didn't get rid of literally everything, but we got rid of like all our big pieces of furniture. The furniture that we kept really has some sort of significance to us, as far as like it was something that my parents owned, or an antique that has a lot of meaning. We only kept things like that. The rest of it, we let it go, and we packed up a lot of stuff, you know. Just doing that process alone, it was about a 6-month process, and we were working on it all the way up until the day we moved out. So it was a lot of research going into all this. You know, as we're talking about doing this, we didn't know where we were going to homestead. We knew we wanted to homestead. We knew certain things that we wanted, certain things that we didn't want. There was a lot of factors, and you guys can look back on these videos and watch them and just bear with us, because like Doug said earlier, we were definitely amateurs. So it's kind of painful, you know, to look back on them now, but we know it was a learning process. But you know, we researched different states. There was lots of different states that we were interested in. And when we researched this, we didn't start out thinking, oh, we want to buy property in the high desert of Arizona. That's where we want to homestead. Like, there was a lot of research that went into the decision that got us to this particular area of the country.
Yeah. But back to the vacation part.
Yeah.
We went on vacation for a while.
Yeah, sorry, I get sidetracked. We did, because we were just like exhausted from the whole process, and very emotional, of course, you know, at least for me it was. Probably not as much for Doug, but it was an emotional time.
I'm a drifter.
He's a drifter, but it was definitely, we were physically and just mentally spent. And we just decided, we were thinking, we really wanted to get going on the property. We wanted to get here and start working and getting our hands dirty. But we also recognize that we were pretty burned out, and we made this decision. At first it started out, we're like, oh, it's going to be a 2-week trip. And then Doug said, oh, I really want to go down the whole entire West Coast, like from the very tip of Washington State down to the very bottom of California, and then make our way over. And I'm like, well, I don't think we can do that in 2 weeks unless we're literally like only staying places one night and we're not having time to really see anything. So the 2-week trip started out, and it turned into what, 7 weeks?
Yeah.
I think it was 7 weeks that we
kept on going.
We just kept on going. And so let me back up just a minute. Doug was still very fixated on keeping the trip short and getting to the property. I knew, because I had experience RVing earlier in life, that you can't just stay one night. I mean, you can, but it's exhausting. So when we first started the trip out, that's what we were doing. And as we got more into it, about a week into it, or maybe a week and a half, Doug was like, this isn't fun. Like, we're just getting places, unpacking, setting up, running to the grocery store, or going and getting dinner, coming back, sleeping, and getting up and leaving. And we didn't have time to hike or do all the things that we really love doing and what we wanted the trip to be. So we ended up, the trip kind of morphed on its own, and it just kept getting more extended. And there was places that we stayed that thought we were only going to be there 1 or 2 nights, that we stayed a little longer because there was things that we wanted to do and see. And we really got to see some amazing, beautiful places, and no pressure to get back to a job, which was like unbelievable. It was just, we've never experienced that before.
We kind of forgot to tell you that I quit my job right before we went on this vacation.
Right before.
Like maybe 2 days before we went on the vacation. I gave my notice and quit.
Saw him later on. I go, yeah, I got some papers on your desk. And he's like, I looked at it and came back to me. He's like, so when's your last day? And told him the 23rd.
Mr. Drifter was having a very hard time quitting his job. I had no problem quitting my job, but he really, it was a big, big deal for Doug. So the house for me selling that was a big deal, but for Doug, it was quitting his job. So, and taking away that stability that we relied on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so looking back on our vacation videos are some of our least watched videos. So if you guys are really curious, I think we did a good job on those videos. We went from Arizona to Utah, all the way to Washington, back down to San Diego, came back, and we videotaped the majority of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys are really interested in seeing some good vacation videos, I recommend you go back and watch those. But I also recommend, if you plan on homesteading yourself and you haven't actually left your place of residing right now, go on vacation first, because you're going to regret it if you come out here and then try to work in a vacation after you're out here. It might never come.
It might never come.
Yeah,
exactly.
So definitely go on vacation first. Budget some of that money out that you plan on putting in your homestead, and whatever you can afford, just go see the country before it's no longer. I digress. I'm not going there. I won't rant.
Don't go there. Yeah. So I agree with Doug on that, because we went back and forth of, should we do it now, or should we get on the property, start working, and then do it, in a more convenient time. And we realized, if we don't do it now, we may not do it. And also, at the time that we were making all these decisions, gas prices, I think, were at an all-time high. And
like $7 a gallon in California.
It was up to 7 in California, and we were, when we made the decision, it was like, God, it's going to cost us a ridiculous amount just in gas. Like, I think we spent more on gas than we did on the campsites and food, combined. Yeah, so the gas was the big cost, but we also didn't know, where were gas prices going. We had heard it could go up to $20 a gallon, and we're like, well, if that happens, we're never going on vacation or taking a long drive. So we're glad we did it, and it was a great time. It was also a good, sort of a buffer, because when we quit our jobs, you guys have to understand, we both worked full time. I always have worked full time, plus had a business or something on the side that I did, and for tax reasons, and also just for the extra income. And we didn't spend that much time together. just, you know what we're talking about. You're both working full time. You've got, some socializing that you're doing, and just that rat race, like, it doesn't allow you to spend your days together and all that time. So we went from living that lifestyle to all of a sudden we're together all the time, and we're on the road, and we're learning how to RV and use the trailer. Like, Doug had never RV'd before. I remembered a few things, but we had to learn all of that, and learn, like, he had to learn how to drive the trailer and how to maneuver it and back it up. And, there was some situations that we were in that were kind of stressful. I'm going to tell you to watch the California coast video, because driving down Highway 1 with an RV is terrifying, I have to say. Especially if you're the passenger and you're on the water side, there's some cliffs that are insane. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that time that we had to travel, it helped us kind of jive, I guess, is how I would say it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it helped us work in small living spaces.
Yep.
And learning how to deal with issues and problems and all that good stuff. But
Yep.
but the vacation had to come to an end at some point, and we headed back down to Arizona.
Yep.
And we stayed in a campground, an RV campground, because we ended up coming back to Arizona in the midst of monsoon season.
Yes. Yep. We came back. I think we landed back in Arizona, in the area. We were staying at an RV park about a half hour from here, and I think it was July, wasn't it? July.
I don't
August.
wear a watch, and I don't have
July.
a calendar. So.
Yep, it was we came back in mid-July, and and so we got settled in the RV park, and we picked that RV park because it had a laundromat and nice clean bathrooms, and it was super convenient to the property. It was like halfway between the property and our main resupply city, I guess is what you call it. And it was just a good location. We met some really awesome people there. We actually made friends with a couple that was down here, Rick and Leslie, who watch our videos. They also are going to be homesteading out here, and we've become friends with them and stay in close touch with them. So anyway, the RV park was a great experience, but we were really anxious to get on the property and get going.
So we did do that. We made daily trips. We couldn't get in more than 3 hours a day of work, but we eventually got that fence up after. I know you all struggled with watching all those. I mean, it was kind of a series of fence videos, but fencing in 38 acres is not an easy task, especially if you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In hindsight, there's a lot easier ways of doing this fence than what we did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're not buying any more property, so that was our first run in, and that was it.
Yeah.
But then, we did a bunch of videos on fencing.
Yeah, we did. We did a lot of videos on fencing, and part of that was because it was monsoon season. There was actually some days that we couldn't get out to the property because the rain and the washes. If the washes are running really heavy, you can't drive through it. It's dangerous. You can kill yourself doing that. So there was days where we couldn't even get out here. And then there was other days where we would get out here and we get, a couple, 2-3 hours of work in, and all of a sudden we'd look over and there's just this massive black cloud coming, and there's lightning coming out of it. And it's like, okay, so I guess our work day is done. So it took us, it felt like it took forever. And I'm sure
it was hard getting our momentum going.
Yeah, because you just can't get that much done in a couple hours. And so, and then we would be like, well, we don't want to get, we've got the RV is at the RV site, and we're here on the property, and we see these monsoon rains coming, and it's like, we didn't want to take a chance on getting stuck out here because we didn't really have supplies out here. We would pack a lunch or something, and we'd have some water, but we weren't like equipped to stay out here if we absolutely had to.
Yeah.
And maybe we should have thought twice about that. I don't know. But then we also were worried about the monsoon starting to run, and then we're like stuck on our property and we can't get out, which is fine if you have supplies.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
And so eventually we did get this RV across the wash, and we said we need to make it today, or we're never going to get our RV on there for another 3 months or so.
Yep. Out there.
Anything to say?
now I just want to get this over with. I'm at the bottom of our road, getting ready to video Doug driving the car with the trailer. So we're gonna see how this goes. Looks like he's making it. Okay, that was anticlimactic. It went a lot better than we were expecting. Yep.
But that was the big factor. That was the big grand landing, or, you know, we got this thing here and we've been kind of working since.
Yep.
Doing those gabions. We've been working on roads, swales, berms, water management. We ran back up to Colorado, got the last of our stuff out of storage.
Yep.
Brought it down here. We bought a tractor over this series. You've seen a few tractor videos.
Yep.
And now we're working on the chicken tower.
Yep. We're working on the chicken tower. And we've not been on our property, obviously, for a full year. We've only been on the property, physically on the property, since September of 2022. And now we are at the end of December. So we've barely been here for 3 months. And like Doug said, a lot of it was during monsoon season. So you lose time, and it's frustrating because when the monsoons are here, or when we have a really gross rainy day like we're kind of having today and yesterday was really cloudy and it was super windy and it was gross. Like you couldn't be outside working. It was freezing, and you're kind of stuck in the trailer. So Doug used that time and went with a friend up to Phoenix to get some supplies, and then I went into town to do some grocery shopping and last minute Christmas shopping, and it was just a yucky day. But if you're here, it's like you're in this very small trailer space, and it's like, all right, we do a lot of reading, we do a lot of research on days like that, we make our lists on days like that and make our goals, and then we try to do some videos too, and do some editing and things like that. But that can be frustrating because if the weather doesn't cooperate, you can't be out working in it. So
yeah, we kind of stretch ourselves thin here. You know, it's hard enough homesteading as it is, doing all the work involved, but having to set up camera at different angles and do all this also, besides working, you know, it's a real stretch. We're getting better at it, but it can be exhausting too, you know. So we're trying our best to entertain you all, but it's also, you know, sometimes we're just too beat up to even bother videotaping. It can be pretty rugged out here doing the work. And it's an honor for us to bring you guys these videos, because I know it's going to help a lot of you, and some of you it just for entertainment purposes, but we also, you know, we enjoy entertaining you too. So so what do you think? What do you see this next year? What's going to go down this next year?
Oh, what a great question. So one of the things that I've learned, and I actually probably already had an inkling of this. So one of the side businesses that I did when we still lived in Denver was I flipped houses. I had a dear friend of mine that is still a dear friend, Augusta, and we started a business, and we worked together for a local city, and her and I both had a passion for this. So we flipped houses on the side, and we did all the work ourselves, like pretty much everything except for maybe the roof. But we learned how to replace windows, and we learned how to tile and do flooring and all sorts of stuff, trim, and we learned how to do doors. And
yeah, so halt there for a second. So obviously she's the construction person out of the couple here, you know.
No, that's not necessarily true.
She knows more about electricity, plumbing, putting up carpentry, all that good stuff more than I do. I'm more like, I like being outdoors. I like setting up water management. I like putting in swales and berms and doing permaculture and the likes. But yeah, you can go ahead. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with it too. It's like I get off on a tangent, but my whole point to this is that when I was flipping houses with Augusta, what we learned is that if we thought it was going to take us a week, it's going to take us 2. If we thought it was going to cost $100, it's going to cost us $200. So that is a lesson that I learned, and I brought it with me, and I think Doug knew that too. But that's been one thing that I have kind of struggled with, is we're not as far along as I thought we wanted to be at this point. I think for me that's been a little bit frustrating. So, but just because that's, we're where we're at, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be setting big goals. I mean, Doug and I are both goal setters. We write things down, we make lists like we talked about earlier, and the goals are really important. So over the next year, where my main goal over the next year would be to have all of our livestock shelters built, have our livestock guard dogs in place, and either buy adult dogs that are already trained, or we have puppies that we bring in with the livestock that we train as the livestock grow. And I'd like to ideally be about halfway done with our house.
And I'd like to have a lot more subscribers. So if any of you are watching this,
Yeah.
you're watching it for free. You need to pay up now and subscribe. Hit that like button.
Yeah, and we've heard, like, some other people were talking about they get unsubscribed from channels, like YouTube unsubscribes them. I don't know why. So I've seen people say, hey, just make sure you're subscribed. So we appreciate that, of course, because this is a whole piece of what we're doing. But yeah, so, we have a lot of work to do. We don't know what the weather's really like here a whole entire year. We know what monsoons are like now, and we know we can work in the monsoons for the most part. We can't get a full work day in, but we can get a decent amount of work in. And but it definitely slows you down. So there's things that we're not sure what spring is going to be like here. We're at the end of December now. We've heard that we start getting days like this where we get rain. It's like their second monsoon season, or our second monsoon season, that is just not as intense as the summer monsoon season. So I guess a lot of it depends on that too. So weather is a huge factor. But I don't know, is there some, we had talked about, we're not retired. So when we sold our house and quit our jobs, it wasn't because we could retire. We're not retired. So we're
on a short hiatus.
We're on a hiatus.
Or a sabbatical.
Yeah, we're on a working sabbatical.
Without a job waiting for us at the end of the...
Exactly. So we have to figure out ways to make our homestead work for us and make it profitable for us to be here. We can't just live here. We have to find ways of making a living. Now, one of the things that we did when we sold the house is we pretty much got rid of most of our debt. We still have a little bit of debt. We're making payments on our trailer. They're very small payments. It's minuscule, but we pretty much don't have debt. So because of that, we don't have to make the kind of money that we were making when we still lived in Denver. We have a lot more flexibility. We have the ability to do, instead of having jobs where we have to make a certain threshold of money, we can now do things that we enjoy that make enough money so that we can survive out here. So
Yeah.
part of the plan, we've got many different things that we want to do. One of the things that we want to do is we do want to raise our own meat, and we will have livestock. So why don't you explain what we thought we were going to do, and then the research that we've done and where we're ending up with what kind of animals.
Oh, so I mean, we pretty much studied the gamut of all different types of livestock that you could probably have here.
Mm-hmm.
But we have limited factors. We are in the high desert. The grass isn't as lush as perhaps where some of you live. As you can see, it's all yellow and dried up, which means our animals would have to either go to slaughter, get processed, or we'd have to bring food in for them during this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And so brings us down to, we've been studying sheep, we've been studying goats, we've been studying beef. I'd like to have all of the above, but to start out as a hobby, like a male, a female, if we like them enough, if we like that species enough, then we have them breed out, and we, you know, have a small flock of it. And we kind of, we're going to do that with goats. We're just going to keep them for the milk production and stuff like that. But we're really looking into sheep, and chicken, poultry, sorted types. But yeah, that's some ways of making money. We don't want to go into too much, detail on how we're going to make money yet.
Yeah.
Because it is a small area, and we kind of got to find a niche for ourselves, right? So, I don't know. It's New Year's, guys. This is a year's worth of videos that we put out for you guys. We hope next year that we put out another 69 or so videos. Yep. And hopefully they just get incrementally better, you know, as we learn how to use our equipment better and our sound and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and we hope for those of you that are interested in homesteading and you've subscribed because you want to see what that's all about, we really hope that you've learned some stuff from us. Not that we're like these great teachers, but maybe you've learned some things about how you don't want to do things or some of the mistakes that we've made. We've made mistakes, and we've wasted some money on stuff that we didn't have to. And looking back in retrospect, you know, we would have done things differently in some areas. But yeah, so it's New Year's, and we're looking forward to 2023 and really starting to dig in and get things done and get things built. And you can go on us with our journey of getting the animals and what kind of animals we're going to get. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And we might even have a guest house built by then, and we can put on, you know, fermentation videos and all that good stuff. I used to be a chef for 20 years, you know, I could show you guys some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think this video should probably come to a close, so you guys can get on to celebrating the New Year's.
Yeah, if you made it this far, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a long time to watch, but we enjoy you guys, and we hope you have a wonderful and blessed 2023, that your families stay healthy and that you're prosperous, whatever that means to you, and that you are living your best life.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. We hope that you guys are around for the next video.
Yeah. If we don't see you before Christmas, hope you all have a wonderful Thanks for sticking to the end. You guys have a wonderful day.